Let me remind everybody, we have 10 legislative days before September 30th. That's 10 days left for us to do our jobs and prevent a government shutdown. And unless a miracle happens, God help us, I don't see how this is going to work out. For all the ranting and raving in the past years about the appropriations process, all the moaning and groaning from Republicans that Democrats were dragging their feet to get appropriations done before the August work period, we aren't even close this year. Even if we were on track time-wise, there's no way that any of these Republican bills will ever become law. Speaker McCarthy and the far-right fringe said to hell with the spending agreements and the debt limit deal negotiated earlier this year. Instead, they're doubling down on an appropriations agenda that's a non-starter for the White House or even for Senate Republicans. So I really don't know what we're doing here other than stalling more and more so House Republicans can continue to argue amongst themselves. Let me begin by saying it's great to be back and see everyone. As you might imagine, though, there's a but at the end of that sentence. And the but is because during this district work period, we continue to hear report after report about the dysfunction within the Republican Party. A very small group of members keeps calling the shots for the entire conference, holding the floor hostage for days on end to do nothing more than demonstrate how much chaos they can throw the chamber into, bringing the country to the brink of default because they aren't getting everything they want, threatening to remove their speaker, strong-arming him into holding a baseless impeachment inquiry into the president. And now we're hearing that the basic task of governing, keeping the lights on and the government open, is now, as many of us expected, in question. This is only the third FY 2024 appropriations bill brought before our committee so far, and the House has passed only a single appropriations bill this year. That leaves 11 bills that need to make it through us to the floor and pass. I'm no mathematician, but the math is simple enough. That means we would need to bring up and pass at least one bill per in-session day before the end of the month. I don't know about everyone else, but clearly that is, I don't see that ever happening. And a continuing resolution is becoming more and more difficult given some of the extreme comments that we're hearing out of certain members of the Republican conference. It seems to me there are a lot of Republicans that actually want a shutdown. So let me conclude by saying this. Some of our colleagues across the aisle are already trying to defend a MAGA shutdown. Some are saying a shutdown could be a good thing. I can't believe how out of touch that is. The last time our government shut down, it was the longest in history due to an action by then-President Trump and Republican majorities in the House and Senate. It cost Americans $11 billion, $3 billion permanently, and caused sizable suffering for our constituents. We are talking about people having to take out loans, failing to pay their mortgages, unable to put food on the table. A shutdown, even temporary, would not only affect thousands of federal workers, it could also impact our nation's seniors, veterans, military, and vulnerable communities. Democrats are ready to work for the American people, willing to come to the table for serious talks to avoid a shutdown. But if Republicans aren't willing to negotiate reasonable spending bills, and they also are not willing to pass a continuing resolution to keep the lights on while those conversations are taking place, then what is the plan to improve the situation? It doesn't seem like House Republicans have one. The bottom line is the time is up. Republicans barely control half of one branch of the government, yet they are acting like they're king of the world. Newsflash, to get anything done for the American people, we have to work together. That's how it works. We are adults. We can't be throwing temper tantrums every day. It is time to do our job. Our constituents have sent us here to do that job, and I hope that all of us live up to what our constituents, I think, hope and desire. With that, I yield back.